All right, we are live. Hello. Let me wait for everything to populate here because I got off late. Congratulations to your Sacramento Kings, 3-3, and I'm wearing the hard hat. I'm wearing the hard hat because that's what this trip was. This was a hard hat style trip, man. This was they put their big boy pants on. They went out there. They left the trip 4 games above 500. They come home from the road trip 4 games above 500. I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier with this team at all. This is just a gutsy trip, man. This is just a gutsy trip. You know what? It's also nice getting a win going into the weekend too. Just makes everything better. I got dinner waiting for me. Let me make sure this thing's on straight here. I got dinner waiting for me. Wanted to wait until this thing was over. Let's take a look at some things here, and we'll get post-game analysis as soon as we can. Let's take a look, though, first off, at where the Kings are in the standings right now. 16 and 12. I mean, right? 16 and 12. 571 clip. They're tied for fifth with the Blazers. You know what's hilarious is watch this, because we're so used to looking at the playoffs, right? And where the Kings are at, which they'd be in the playoffs right now if the season ended today. But let me adjust things here because we don't really care about this much, even though there's a banner. Look at this. The Sacramento Kings are a half a game out of first place in the Pacific. We were wondering this morning on the show. I get it. Way too ahead of ourselves, and it probably ain't gonna happen. But if the Kings were to win the Pacific Division this year, let's say they crash out in the first or second round, but they were to win the Pacific Division, do they hang another banner? Are we on the cusp of getting another Pacific Division banner in Sacramento? I mean, listen, you're basically exactly a third of the way through the season, and you're 16 and 12, and you're a half game out of first place in the Pacific. Now, when we look, of course, at the standings themselves, the Kings, like we said, they're tied with Portland, as we said, but again, a half game behind Phoenix in the Pacific, a half game behind number 4, which would be hosting a playoff series. Looking right here, Denver in third. They're going to have a back-to-back with Denver. We're going to get into the schedule here in just a second. Let's look at this box score and look at these balanced numbers. De'Aaron Fox, 24 points, 9 assists to go with 5 rebounds. 2022-23 season all-star. I'm calling it right now. Barring injury or something crazy, Domantas Sabonis will be an all-star this season. It would be nice to get 2 all-stars in there with Foxy as well. But Sabonis is going to be an all-star. There's just no doubt in my mind he's making the all-star team in the Western Conference. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 7 assists. Oh, he just shot 82% from the field. He is just absolutely sublime right now. Harrison Barnes was here huge with 19 and 7. Keegan Murray looks like his old self, 20 points, and look at this, 4 of 6 from beyond the arc, doing it on the defensive end, taking charges. And I got to give a shout out to my guy from the Red Velvet Lounge, which we heard this morning on the show, Kevin Huerter, 3 of 6, his first game back from a little knock up there, injury, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, 13 points, almost at 21 points, 13 points. The beam is lit. Let me see if we don't have post-game sound yet. We'll get to that in a second as soon as I see it. And what's even great is, as we go into the schedule, let me bring it up here real quick for you guys. This is one of 2 6-game road trips this year. Nobody in the NBA has longer than a 6-game road trip this year, I believe. Not even the Spurs rodeo trip. And the Kings wrap it up. If you'd have told me, we talked about this before. We talked about this in the last post game. You give me 3-3 on this road trip, and I'd walk away happy. They lose pretty comfortably in Milwaukee. They get that win, that 19-0 cutoff at the end versus Cleveland. Ugly loss to New York, ugly loss to Philadelphia. And really, I know we're all kind of the same here. This was that stretch right there. These two games where it was just really ugly. And by the way, you heard it's always interesting. It's always interesting how tortured our fan base is. Because during those two games, the amount of folks that came out of the woodwork and just name it, just waiting, trading Tyrese Halliburton was stupid. Why would you possibly extend Monty McNair? Vivek is terrible. De'Aaron Fox doesn't have heart. These takes that they're waiting. I want to see some of them. Where are you in the comments? Come on. Where the Halliburton was a bad trade. Monty doesn't deserve an extension. De'Aaron Fox is soft. Where are those folks now? Because this team is absolutely special. It's the championship team. Yeah, okay. Let's not get crazy. But this is a good team, and going 3-on-3 on this road trip, 3-3 on this road trip is something that it shouldn't surprise us, but it understandably does because we're not used to this. Now, you want to get really excited going to the weekend. Let's take a look at this. They come home and they take on Charlotte Monday, so they get a full weekend. They get a full weekend. By the way, let me post this up here. Here's Martin popping in. I knew he's one of those guys, by the way, that waits in the weeds. I have one bad take, and by the way, they traded Halliburton, and let's remember that. I not in a heartbeat think they were going to trade Fox, or excuse me, trade Halliburton. They traded Halliburton. Give me a break. I just want to see those folks in the weeds pop up. Is all I'm saying. Charlotte, Lakers, Washington, back-to-back Denver. It's going to be Jokic going against Diet Jokic, Sabonis, Nikola Jokic. Those are going to be a fun couple of games right there with them. Well, I hope they're fun. But let me just, I'm not going to try to predict what the Kings are going to do here. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what I think the Vegas line will say. You guys have an echo right now? Do you really? Anybody else have an echo? That's weird. I have no issues right now at all. I have nothing weird going on. So let me know. Oh, here we go. Let's get Kevin Huerter in here right now. Do
this road trip the right way. Come out of this 3-3. I think that's it's not bad. It's 2-4 looks a lot different from 3-3. And he just said we got 24 minutes to figure this out. And I think we came out right mindset wise. And like I said, we got stops.
Did you guard Killian most of the game? It seemed like you were. And what was the discussion with that matchup, and how do you think you did tonight?
Yeah, just guarding most of the game, just looking at different matchups and just trying to have length in the ball and keep him up. Killian's really good when he gets to his left hand. He's a really good playmaker. He's great at spraying the ball, spraying different corners and throwing lobs at bigs. And he's really good if he can get to his left hand. And we're just trying to make it tough for him, keep it to his right hand, and just try to make it tougher.
Kevin Huerter is back. Let's get the Kings Twitter because after Kings win,
all right, thank you. Let me get out of here. Let me get back to this. Yeah. And thanks to NBC Sports California for letting us piggyback on them as well. Also, thanks to my wife if you heard that for her coming in during the whole thing. Thank goodness I have the background up and you couldn't see her. Let me just tell you what Vegas is going to say. Favored against Charlotte. They'll be favored against the Lakers, though it'll be close. They'll be favored against the Wizards. I don't think they'll be favored in either of these Denver games. I could be wrong. It's going to be again, you never know, injuries, stuff like that. But I'm going to say these two will go to Denver. They'll be favored against Utah. Okay, so that right there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Okay, 4 and 2. They won't be favored against Memphis. Probably favored against Utah right here. Okay, so that would be 5 and 3. Okay, I do think there'll be a slight favorite. Yeah, I do at home against Atlanta, like literally like a 1.5 point favorite. Favorite against the Lakers. Favored against Orlando. They'll be favored in both games, including the ESPN one against Houston. And they very well, I think they'll be favored against San Antonio on this roadie, and it'll either be a pick 'em or 1-2 point dog against the Lakers. They're starting to pick it up. They'll be favored against Oklahoma City. They'll probably be dogs to Philly and Memphis, favored against Toronto. So I'm running through a bunch of stuff right now. Let me just tell you why. Because from December 19th on Monday to January 25th, okay? December 19th to January 25th, this team goes on the road for 4 games. For 4 games. I believe that's a 19-game stretch. They're home for 15, on the road for 4. And of those 4 games, they're probably going to be favored in at least 2, if not 3 of those 4 road games. When it comes to home games, they'll probably be favored in all but maximum 4. So that means in a 19-game span, here's the bottom line. They're going to be underdogs a maximum of 6 times. Now, of course, there's upsets, and you win some you shouldn't, and you lose some you shouldn't. But 6 out of 19, let's do quick math here. That's 13 and 6. That's 7 more games over 500. And when you combine that with where they're at right now, that would put them at what? 20. It's too much math. That would put them a lot better than they are right now. 7 games over 500 for that stretch. 4 games now. That's 11 games over 500. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I actually wrote the ticker. The ticker the ticker has the Kings losing. Let's see. What was the final here? Oh, I must have put in, my fat fingers must have put in a there we go. I got it fixed for you. Thank you, fellas. Thank you for noticing that. That should be better. Now let's I'm going to keep checking in here before we go to see if we can't get, there's Morgan and Kenny and Matt Barnes. I want to try to get a little bit of Mike Brown in there as well in his post-game comments. Just really happy with this team. Really happy with this team. Hello, Katie. Hello, Fred. Hello, Neil. Hello, everybody also in here as well. What a great way to go into a weekend, right? Seriously, what a great way to go into a weekend. If you're just joining us, Kings win this one 122-113 as we say hello to our old friend Chris Granger, former president of the Sacramento Kings, now runs a ton of sports stuff out there for the Illich family in Detroit. And pretty soon the Kings will be getting on a plane, and oh wow, there's my face. It's rather big. They will be getting on a plane, and they will be flying home, as Katie kind of said during the this thing straight here. As Katie said during the broadcast, they will be getting home around 2 a.m. If you missed it from this morning, we had Kevin Huerter on in the Red Velvet Lounge. He had said that, you know, we kind of speculated as to Mike Brown in Toronto and whether he just lost his mind or that was a planned thing. He said Mike knew exactly what he was doing. And I agree with him. We had talked about that a little bit. If you missed it today, Mike Brown's pockets are $25,000 lighter. I sure hope at some point we hear about the players passing a hat or something. Or Vivek digging into those deep pockets. I hope Mike's not going to be paying 25 grand because it certainly lit a fire under that team. And you turned a road trip that could have very easily been 2-4 into 3-3. I can't say enough about their performance. I can't say enough. And this game really worried me. And on the show this morning, I was going for the reverse jinx. I did think the Kings would win, but I picked against them this morning in a 3 in the key just because I wanted all the reverse jinxing I could. Last games of a long road trip and first home games after a long road trip, they're always weird. So I don't know what the Kings will be favored against Charlotte on Monday, but I can tell you right now that there is a very good chance that this is just going to be one of those weird games, because you have to understand the human side, and it's tough for us to do that sometimes. These guys have been gone for almost 2 weeks. A lot of them have family, they have friends, they have commitments, they've got agents, they've got photo shoots and commercial shoots and all kinds of stuff that has to be put on hold. And then they'll all get home tonight. They'll probably, I'm imagining they all have the day off tomorrow. I'm almost positive of that. And then it all starts again. And it's not just shoot around and stuff. It's also going to be, hey, you got to go to the kids thing and you got to do this thing. It's not like Domas or Harrison or De'Aaron or cleaning the gutters, or mowing the lawn. I completely understand that. But there's responsibilities. And so you come back and you're kind of overwhelmed. And then you always see that first game back, they're off. In fact, if you want to make a lot of money in Vegas, if you're a better 1-800-GAMBLER, what you do is you always take the home team after a long road trip as a dog in the first quarter. They may straighten it out, and oftentimes they will, second, third, and fourth, but more often than not, that first quarter, and sometimes even the first half or first game back from a long road trip, ends up being a bad thing. Kings win. They beat Detroit. They go to 3-3. They are, 3-3 right now. I want to read something from a friend of mine that sent me this the other night. And I actually thought it was a good point I wanted to share with you guys in the post game. Let me bring this up real quick. Actually, he might have texted it to me. I'm not sure, but his point was about small market teams. And here we go. Let me bring up the standings here so you can kind of understand what I'm doing. I'll share that screen, and this would be kind of a cool way to end it, unless of course I'll keep an eye out for Mike Brown here. Let me get to standings here for the NBA. It's highly technical, by the way, because I'm doing all this on my own. Okay, so when you look at the standings, look at this: Memphis, New Orleans, Denver, Portland, Sacramento, Utah. So in the Western Conference alone, I don't count Phoenix. You could make an argument, but I don't count them. 6 of the 7 top seeds right now, and it's early, but 6 of the 7 top seeds would be considered small markets. Denver's right on the bubble. New Orleans, Memphis, Portland, and Sacramento, and Utah / Salt Lake City are bona fide small markets. Some of the smallest markets in the NBA, along with Oklahoma City. But Denver would also be considered a small market. And look at that. 6 of the top 7. Now let's see if it's any different over here. Cleveland, small market. They're basically identical with Sacramento. Indiana, small market. It's so cool because a huge reason why this team is still here is because David Stern believed very strongly in small markets. Market energy is what he used to always say, not just market size. And I don't ever want to disrespect big market fans. Memphis is not a mid-market, by the way. No, they're not. They're a small market. Absolutely. Sorry, I was looking at the comments right here. I don't want to disrespect fans in big markets. Obviously, Boston, New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, they all have huge fans. Diehards. I get it. And every fan base has extremes. Okay. But it means more to small markets. And it means more to small markets because there's, who's your other Memphis team? In New Orleans, the Pelicans are arguably the 3rd most popular sport in that city, certainly behind the Saints, and almost certainly behind LSU college sports. What else does Portland have? They have an MLS team. Sacramento, again, Republic, River Cats, I get it, but one horse town. What does Utah have? So when you're in New York, you have 8, 9 other major teams. And that doesn't even count colleges in the area. For a city like Sacramento to go through all this, and God bless Sac State and UC Davis and all that, but let's be honest, this is a one-horse town with a bunch of little ponies. So for Sacramento to be able to do something like this, and obviously I'm preaching to the choir here, it's pretty pretty darn insane. Let me do one more check. Come on. They probably want the team probably wants to get out and get on the airplane. I haven't been able to watch the whole time, but I'm pretty sure Mike Brown and folks have not done their post game, and that's fine. I don't want to keep you guys too long either. Bottom line is 16-12. The Sacramento Kings have won 6 of 10. Look at that, staying consistent. They have won 2 in a row. They come with a 2-game win streak off of that road trip. They are 16-12. And again, one more time, looking at this upcoming schedule, everybody can take a weekend off because it's football time. Remember, we got a lot of NFL football starting tomorrow. But you're going to come home Monday, December 19th, my sister and my sister-in-law's birthdays, against Charlotte. Then you've got the Lakers. Hey, how about that Laker game, December 21st? That place is going to be insane. You're going to have a lot of people starting early Christmas vacation as well. I love this 4-game break from December 23rd to the 27th. This team was on the road for Thanksgiving, so you're going to get a nice break for Christmas for them to spend time with their families. How about that? And then Denver's on NBA TV. I see a lot of talk down there about flexing out games. I can tell you right now, and we talked about this again on the show yesterday, the Kings are going to start getting flexed into games. Just trust on that. It will happen. We saw this happen in 1999. They will absolutely start getting flexed in. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And they've got some pretty cool matchups coming up. Would the Laker game be one? I think that's probably a little too early. I don't count NBA TV, by the way. I don't really count that as that's like bootleg national TV. ESPN, TNT, that's national television. So Kings have been on the road for a long time. They're coming home, and I expect Goal One Center is going to be an absolute madhouse. It's tough for me to get out during the weekdays because of the morning show, but I'm actually really looking forward to catching a couple games over this holiday season and seeing so many of you out there, seeing the beam in person. Got to take some pictures out there with the beam. Shout out again to the Kings. We figured out today they can't really do the laser pointer thing because you're going to have opposing players shooting free throws with their entire faces looking like they're about to get sniped. But can we please get some defensive player of the game replica chains to wear at games? Can we get some home lasers, some home beams as well? That would be very, very nice. So listen, love all of you. Man, it's been a long road. It really has. It's just really nice. And I'm going to continue to enjoy this because like a lot of you, I don't know. I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know if it's going to end. But until then, yeah, and until then, just enjoy the ride. I'm done playing it. I'm done playing it cool. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see you all back on Monday, 6 a.m. Sactown Sports right there in the morning. Jason Ross, I believe, will get back. I talked to him earlier today. He'd been out with kidney stones, and he is feeling much better. So for everybody, light that beam, Goal One Center, shining purple, Sacramento Kings, 16-12. Come on home, folks. We will see you on Monday.